Hey folks, we're just going to be going live in a minute. Just have to let folks know that we are, in fact, living. Excuse me. Today's going to be kind of a more relaxed stream. We're just working on some commissions, so, excuse me again. Not doing anything too cray-cray. Oh, Flint played Pokemon Snap and I missed it. Oh. To be fair, it's been a kind of lazy day. So, hey, thank you very much for the host, Korg. Hi, Thomas! And hi, DC. Hey, Kaze! Resubscribe for 10 months in a row. Ah! Do I want to fight? No, shocking, I don't want to fight. Thank you very much for the host, Kaze. But, Thomas, I'm doing good. It's been a bit of a lazy day, so I'm trying to, like, catch up with my work. This is, pack a bunch. Storytellers, that's next. Team promotion. I believe that's everyone. Okay. Your friend anyways, no fake friend. Hi, Kaze. Thank you very much for the host. DC abides. I hope everyone's doing well. Excuse me. We're gonna dive right in. I start with this piece, and later when I want to work on another piece that's being done. By the way, this is slightly NSFW, but not the actual piece itself, just one of the refs. It's censored though. It's all good. I don't know how loud the music is, but thank you for the host, DC. Oh, DC's actually here. In that case, yeah, we'll hold off for that for now, and then we'll, yeah, I said hi to you earlier. How did I forget that you're here? Wow. Sounds just the right level? Okay, so for now, we're actually going to start working on DCs, and then we'll get back to this one. Just because, you know, DC's already here, so I figure why not. Sounds just the right level. How's everyone doing? Okie dokie. Still not really doing all well. If anything, I'm sorry, Kaze. I hope that the stream will help a little bit. Today's been a lazy day for me too. I stayed in, been trying some CSP drawing myself. Oh, awesome! How's that been working out for you? Okay, Korg, see you later. Yes, I also hope you feel better, Fen friend. I mean, I already said that, but still. Drawing of cute sleep. Yes, DC wanted their Pokemon team kind of all just napping together on like a porch or something, so. It's also been a hot minute since I've updated them on this piece, so, you know, oops, sorry. Zoom out, then draw. It does kind of depend on the piece. And at what point of the drawing you're in. I.e., if you're adding in a lot of little extra intricate details, you want to zoom in, right? It also depends on the resolution of the canvas and that sort of thing. You're gonna go play D&D? Awesome, I hope you have a good time. Oh, actually, I just realized our D&D is actually, it's actually tomorrow. Awesome. And it's the one where I get to play as Zafira. Yay. Don't worry, 2 weeks is for the longest I've waited for a commission. It's not even the longest I'm waiting now. What are you doing in your game? Has it really been 2 weeks? Jeez, it's been even longer than I thought. I know the last time I updated you was about 5 days ago, though at least I think I did. To be fair, I am kind of starting to lose track of time again. Quarantine life be getting like that, especially since, you know, we found out today our executive-in-chief basically just said, yeah, we won't be lifting the restrictions until things get way better. Well, thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Would you care to be more specific? This is a very strange, like... I'm gonna set up the guy here. That honor goes to one I've been waiting for 1.5 months counting. Hi, Choco! Was it 5 days? Well, that seems to be the last time before today we were in contact with each other about the commission, so I'm assuming. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but jeez, just be having some issues with this, You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna erase this, and I'm just gonna... I'm just gonna, like, dink around and see what I can fix. Hey! D! Thank you very much for 10 months of subscription. I don't know, hey, it's been a while. Sorry, hey, it's alright, dude. I know you have your sort of reasons why you can't be... Dang, I'm just gonna wait for the music to stop because it's very loud. I know why you can't really... I know why you haven't been around. You've got your own reasons and whatnot. Don't worry about it. It's all good. You can come hang out when you feel good and ready, my dude. Never feel obliged to have to come and watch these streams. I like it when people come, but you're under no obligation. Looks like a single week since you sent me the initial rough sketch. My memory's not the best here. Ah, okay. But yeah, like, if for, like, whatever reason you just can't come and watch the stream, it's no problem, man. Don't worry about it. I appreciate your continued support. Thank you. But again, I know that you've sort of had some issues with hanging out in streams and whatnot, so yeah, don't worry too hard, my dude. Here, So yeah, it is very. It is the roof is longer than the actual porch. I've seen a couple of porches like that. It's a little weird, but. Eh. This game's soundtrack is awesome. It's just too bad it's kind of like way too difficult to be good. Why don't you? Because it's been a while. I'm at least not really in my head. I understand. A single week. Okay. I remember being 5. I guess we were both wrong. Yeah! It is a Sunsoft game. It's, Batman, Return of the Joker on the NES. A sort of... It has what we chiptuners I'm assuming you meant to say call and then... Call Sunsoft base. I was absolutely tempted to put on Fester's Quest, but Fester's Quest has the Addams Family's name in it, so I wasn't sure. I mean, it's like an 8-bit remix of it, but like still. But yeah, if you're not familiar with the game, it's like this sort of half sequel to like the Tim Burton Batman, because it's the sequel to the game that Sunsoft did of Batman. It definitely gives me some Ninja Gaiden vibes, and keep in mind the original game also gives some pretty strong Ninja Gaiden vibes. But it's weird, because it's like, you don't punch or anything, you just use like this blaster. That aside, the game has really nice graphics, and the music is fantastic, as you can hear. It's about as good as the original Batman game that they did. But it is too hard. Like even by NES standards. But unlike something like, say, Castlevania 3, where I still think that despite the fact that it is the most bullcrap, I think that the level design and character thing more than make up for it. I don't feel like that what's good about Batman Returns really makes up for its issues, if that makes any sense. Sure, I've never beaten Castlevania 3, but I'm still tempted to try. I would be tempted to try and beat Batman Return of the Joker. There's also the Sega Genesis version, which is called Revenge of the Joker. It's the same game, I think, but like it even has the same music, but it's like Genesis-y or Mega Drive-y if you prefer. I think both titles are cool. Hard brass. I'm assuming you mean bass. Castlevania 3 was made harder in the West. Yes, I did actually hear that they made it's weird. It's like the opposite of what I normally hear, where games are made easier in the West. Or in the case of Mario 2, they were worried that the original Mario 2 would be too difficult for American audiences because it was already way too hard for Japanese audiences. So instead they just ported Doki Doki Panic. Though I should mention that technically that game actually did, in its really early phases, start life as a Mario 2. Yeah, and then there's this music which sounds like Mega Man. I recognize that I steal that observation from the angry video game nerd, but, you know. Apparently a cartridge made can now hold... A cartridge made now can hold more data than a CD. Castlevania 3 was made... Oh, okay, I already read that. I guess it would depend on the cart. Like, I mean, like, Switch games come in carts, and they have a multitude of different, sizes, as it were. Oh, yeah, CDs, as in, like, CD... Okay, yeah, because... Okay, like, literally CDs. I thought we were talking, like, CDs, like, just in general, like, discs. But, you know. I call them all CDs. You know? Even though they're not. Like, a Blu-ray is not a CD. A DVD is not a CD. Optical media. Akumadra Dentetsu is also superior in terms of music. I've never heard of that game. Maybe I'll throw that on, because I've just been like in an... Since we listened to the, like, the Ninja Turtles Konami game, I've been really in the mood to just, like, listen to, like, chiptune themes and whatnot, so, and, like 8-bit, and, like 8-bit era music. It's not 8-bit music, but you know what I mean. Oh, Japanese Castlevania 2. Oh, yeah, that would be Devil's... Akuma Densetsu. Yeah, that would be Devil's Castle, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's because it was on the, that's because it was on the, Famicom disk drive. So it could, they were able to, like, squeeze a little bit more out of it. I actually prefer the sound of the, North American Castlevania 3. But that's just personal preference. I just like how it sounds better. Why PC gaming made physical media die? Well, no, there'll always be kind of a place for it, I think, in, like, a novelty sense. Like records, of all things, made a comeback. Records! I'm hoping that we get a comeback for Laserdiscs, because I think Laserdiscs are awesome. I always think that there'll be a place for physical media. Oh, it isn't Famicom Disk System? One of them was. One of the Castlevania games was Famicom Disk System. And maybe it was Castlevania 2. I'm thinking of Castlevania 2. It had, slightly different music with, some extra, like, added, notations and whatnot. And I don't think it sounds as good, honestly. I think it sounds weird, because it's, like, maybe I'll, like, throw it on in a bit, but I always thought it sounded kind of weird. Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely the sound, but it's also just the novelty of having a record, you know? I actually do own a record. It was something I picked up at the Big Give, which is, like, this sort of thing that, like, local churches do every now and again. You don't have to be part of the church to do this, but you go in and you pick up some free stuff, you drop off some free stuff. It's really cool. Again, you don't have to actually be part of the church. It's just like this big, goodwill kind of thing. And I don't mean like actual goodwill, but you know what I mean. It's like a goodwill mission thing. And back when, you know, I kind of needed to go to these every now and again, I found a Frank Sinatra record, and I don't remember which one it is. I think it's a Swingin' Affair, and I haven't listened to it yet. I probably should. True. It's Famicom, but it has an expansion chip in the cart called the VRC6, which adds 3 extra sound channels to the NES. The disc still adds only 1. Oh, I wonder if modern compression techniques would lead to very high capability laser discs. Oh, I hope. Like, hang on, let me look up, like, Castlevania 2. Like, this is like the Famicom, like disc system version of Castlevania 2. Like, it sounds so much more shrill, doesn't it? Like, doesn't that sound so much more shrill? This still sounds alright. Not as good, but still sounds good. Kaze, you're a cutie, and never forget that, or else. But yeah, I just don't like the notations as much. It just doesn't sound as good. It still sounds good, but like, it almost sounds like a weird, like, PC port or something. The Famicom Distance Sound Channel is a wavelength synth with a frequency modulator added. I don't really know what that means, but that sounds super cool and science fiction-y, so... Like, maybe I'm just, like, maybe it's just because I'm just used to the, original, like, NES. Or I say original, but, like, you know what I mean. Like used to the NES soundtrack for it. It just doesn't sound as good. But we've listened to Castlevania 2 on here before, but you get, like, the gist. It adds, like, some weird instrument, like, sort of reworked instrumentation. I just don't like how it sounds as much. I'm curious about Castlevania 3, though. Because, like you said, it sounded different. Do I like Laserdisc for aesthetic reasons? I also just, it's a similar thing with records. There's just something about how certain movies look on Laserdisc. Like, whenever I think of, like, something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, my favorite viewing experience of that movie was when I first saw it, and I saw it on Laserdisc. My uncle brought it out because I don't remember the specific reason, but he was like, "Hey, you want to watch a cool ass movie with a bunch of cartoons in it?" And I was like, "Do I?" I was like 5. Do I? And I remember we pulled it out, and I said, "You're gonna put on a movie on a record?" And he thought that was so funny. And so he puts it on, and it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it was fantastic. And it's just so good on Laserdisc, and I have seen it on Laserdisc since. And yeah, that's just how it's best. That's just how it's best watched, man. Yeah. I love Akumajo Densetsu so much. I also love Castlevania. Hi, Milk Steak. I see the dabbing squid. I know it's Milk Steak. Yeah, that was the first time I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Was at my uncle's. And I remember specifically when Judge Doom shows up, and he goes like, "When I killed your brother, I took just one." You know, like when he first did that, like, that scared the hell out of me. I was like, "Damn, that's intense." Oh, that was terrifying. I do not like that laugh. I'm just kind of afraid of dampening the mood. I was already in a bad headspace this morning. The rest of the day just made things worse for me. At the same time, I don't want to leave. I'm just spending time with you, Bled. Well, if you want to just like, lurk, you can do that. It's all right. No one's judging you for not being chatty, my friend. Okay, Okay, so yeah, I like how this sounds a lot better than how Castlevania 2 on Famicom Disk System sounds. I'm still on and off whether or not I prefer this or the US. I'll have to listen to more of it. Compared to Dracula 2, I feel like Akamatsu Tetsu is like the American version, but more. I guess you're in a similar camp as VHS people. Not really. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm not. I mean, VHSs are cool for, like, I feel like it's strictly for novelty. I just, image quality tends to not be great. Betamax was just better. It was very much popular because it was the cheap option, and I feel like going back and watching. Ooh, that's interesting. The notation's very Mega Drive-y. At least I say notation. I'm probably using the. I'm probably not using that right. It does, yeah, but I find it's really bad with VHS. Like, even back then, a lot of VHSs, like a lot of, like, new VHSs would come out, and I even as a kid, I always thought they kind of looked like crap. Especially if it was a movie I'd seen in the theaters. I don't know, man. I like, VHSs are cool in, like, a kind of nostalgic sense, but, like, Instrumentation. That's a good way to put it. Thank you. Not notation. Instrumentation. Thank you very much. There was a bit of instrumentation there that sounded very, at least to me, it sounded kind of Mega Drive-ish, which I think is interesting. Degradation's part of the fun. Now I think I know how vinyl record enthusiasts feel. Well, vinyl records, at least in my experience, are, I'm not going to say easier to take care of, but I find their degradation, unless you have a really crappy player, happens much less frequently. You know, or rather, it doesn't happen as quickly. But to be fair, I'm also not much of a record collector. My roommate is. Excuse me. Like, Corgi is. But I'm not, really. I don't know why I said my roommate. You all know who Corgi is. VHS was fun. You could roll movies and shows on the TV. Family got a bunch of the garage someplace. They might survive the triple-digit summers they've been through, though. Probably not. Sorry, I was just checking something super quick. I'm back. I could go into detail about the specs of the VRC6 ship, but I think I'd confuse you. There's a few YouTube videos out there showing how degradation goes through VHS copying. Great way to change a film's genre to horror. It's not too different to what you get from a normal NES in actuality, but it does have a few extra things about it, such as one completely unique sound to it, which can go lower pitches than the regular NES sound chip. Well, I had a pithier mark and it's gone. This always happens to me now. I used to be so quick on the draw, and now I'm just like, man, somehow I'm getting slow in my old age. At 25. Soon to be 26, and things are probably still gonna be closed down when I'm 26. Yay. I as much as love the kittens. What? I mean, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about those cute little kitties. But, like, I'm not sure I understand the phrasing. Okay, so... They were a terror for my stuff. Yeah, like I said, like when they were first given away. Well, at least they're not peeing on the floor anymore. Or pooping under your bed, I think, was what happened. I don't remember. So, here's a fun little interesting fact about the game Castlevania Judgment, which I'm sure most of you completely forgot existed. I don't blame you. It's not amazing. Richter's theme, or not Richter, Trevor's theme is this. And it's actually a really good remix. It's like this kind of heavy metal. I mean, most of the music in that game is like gothy kind of heavy metal. It's good stuff. I just wish the game was a little bit more interesting. I remember I liked it when I was a teenager, but like, you know, when I was like getting like super into Castlevania again. Excuse me. When people make music in Family Tracker, they usually make it using the VRC6 expansion chip. This does include Jake Kaufman for Shovel Knight's soundtrack. Yeah, I'm like listening to this. It's like I could definitely like hear at least some of like that kind of it reminds me a bit of like Shovel Knight if it was a little bit more spooky, I guess. Though, to be fair, I still have not actually played Shovel Knight. You know, I did once, but it was like, it was super short, and I didn't get a good feel for it. It's weird, because that game seems like it'd be right up my alley. I should probably pick it up. probably, yeah, I should, because it seems like it would be right up my alley. I just always, like, forget. Like, it always, like, escapes my mind, you know? Like, to be fair, outside of streaming, I actually don't play a lot of video games anymore. There's no real reason for that. It's not like I've fallen out of love with gaming or anything, because, like, whenever I stream, I have such a good time. It's more like, I don't know, I just get, like, distracted. I get distracted from a distraction. My favorite expansion chip has to be the VRC7, though. I assume it's like the VRC6, but better? Confession time. I am something of a hoarder. Not only have I found my old anime VHS to be on the shelf, my Fist of the North one felt grassy. I assume you mean greasy. It has a basic FM synth in it. Interesting. Only one game uses that game being Fester's Quest. No. No, like for real though, if you ever got the opportunity, Fester's Quest, great soundtrack. Lagrange Point. I've never heard of that actually. Is it like a Famicom exclusive game? I'm assuming. It's a Japan or only RPG. Ah, I see. It's so strange to me that only one game ever uses it. You'd think that more games would use something like that could, like, make their games, like, you know, better if they had the money to do it. But I'm guessing maybe it's a copyright thing. Maybe it's just not bothering with it. Maybe it was a thing where it's like, again, I'm noticing that these extra, like, sound expansion things don't really show up in the American releases of these games. So maybe that was a thing. Like, maybe it was like, again, I'm not all that familiar with the specifications of the NES and the Famicom, but like, maybe that's part of it. Even though I could have sworn they were mostly the same. In fact, I think they have the exact same lockout technology, as well. But like, I had a thought there, but it's gone again. Like. Anyway, basically, from what I understand, they're fairly similar, because, I mean, like, they're the same console, but, like, you know, the soundtrack is okay, but it's super unique for an NES Famicom game. I might give it a listen sometime. This is their stuff I didn't know I owned, like Pokemon Indigo League on DVDs. Oh, cool! I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Pokemon, but, I mean, that's kind of a cool find. The most excited I've been for Pokemon in like, the last 5 or 6 years was when they announced Pokemon Snap. And I've played it. I've played the new Pokemon Snap. It's pretty good. It's, I haven't played, like, enough of it to really say whether or not I prefer the original or this one. It definitely has an issue with, like, characters won't shut the hell up, but, like, you know. You could definitely tell that, like they wanted to make it easy for kids to understand how to play it, which is so funny to me because, I mean, really, what little kid was clamoring for new Pokemon Snap, right? Like, come on. Like, tutorials are fine, and to be fair, you can skip some of them, but, like, eventually it just gets to the point where it feels kind of patronizing. It's like, okay, alright. And I'm not even normally one of those guys who hates tutorials in games. I actually feel like that, like, I think that sort of thing is a positive change to games because it means more people can play them, but eventually there is kind of a point where it's like, okay, now we're just getting to the super guide thing from Donkey Kong Country Returns. Anyway, I am rambling about nothing. Apologies for my very stream of consciousness style speech right now. Like, there was a time I was bemoaning my Lost Fallout NW. I'm assuming that's meant to be NV, like New Vegas. Xbox 60 copy to find, and I remember I bought one for the PS3. Oh no, a Bethesda game for the PS3. Oh, that couldn't have ended well. Then again, it was it wasn't Bethesda technically. It was I forget the name of the studio. Obsidian. By the way, next Fallout game we're playing is New Vegas, just to let you guys know. When we finish the Skyrim main story, I'm gonna pick up New Vegas. Unfortunately, after that, I don't think there's a lot of options for furry mods. I know that the Fallout 4 mod that I used is based on a New Vegas mod, and it's pretty easy to find. It works for the most part. Oh, good. Because I know that Bethesda games, rather, like, I know Bethesda games are kind of glitchy just in general, but I know they were, like, really notably bad on the, excuse me, on the PlayStation 3. Skyrim had memory leakage issues that would cause it to frequently crash. There was something about the expansion chips not being implemented in the American NES internationally. That's what I figured, or intentionally, rather. I figured it was something like that. Maybe it was just, cheaper to produce. I'm not a big fan of the cover art for Devil's Castle 3, because I'm, like, looking at it, and, like, I don't know, man. Trevor looks weird. Like, he looks like He-Man. I mean, to be fair, like, some of the old, like, promotional material, like, Simon, they tended to look like He-Man, but, like, okay, maybe he doesn't look like He-Man, but he looks, you wanna know what he kind of looks like? He kind of looks like Fabio or something. So I can't help but just feel like, I don't know, maybe this is actually Wizards and Warriors 3. What happened to my voice? I don't understand what you mean. Apparently it has something to do with Commodore, because they didn't want consoles or computers sounding better than the Commodore 64 for some reason. What were they gonna do? Sue Nintendo for having good sound? I don't really know what they could have done. Maybe they paid them off. That's actually entirely possible. Maybe they paid them off. Maybe they paid off Nintendo and they were like, alright, cool, fine. That's entirely possible. It got a little deep for a second. That was probably because I was yawning. Or stretching. It was Konami. Okay, then maybe it was Konami. I was thinking more, maybe it had something to do with the console itself and compatibility. But if it was Konami, then maybe Commodore paid them off and be like, no, don't use your sexy sound chips. And they were like, well, shucks. Okay, Commodore, if you say so. I mean, doing something fueled by money. I mean, that does sound like Konami, alright. Never stop being bitter about Silent Hills, guys. Even more so, never stop being bitter about Metal Gear Solid 3, about Metal Gear Solid Pachinko using the Fox engine. Slutsoft also has a game where they have additional sound for one game. Was it Fester's Quest? Gimmick. I've never played Gimmick. Only released in Japan and Europe, then that would probably be why. Again, American NES releases just no good sound of no extra sound channels for you, mister. Whenever I hear this, all I can think of is one time I was with a friend, and Castlevania came up, and somehow the Belmont strut came up. And then we just ended up walking down the street doing the Belmont strut all the way down. People thought we were weird, I'm guessing. I don't remember anyone giving us any looks, but it was fun. I had a good time. So as a result, I've mastered the Belmont strut. We should hear about the time Michael Moonrock wanted to sue someone. Should I be concerned? I'm familiar with Michael Moonrock. The European version has no additional sound either, but unlike Castlevania 3, the soundtrack wasn't changed to compensate, so it sounds like stuff was missing. Oh! Oh, that's terrible. I don't like that. Actually, you know what? That might actually make sense, because Commodore is Commodore's a British company, actually. So maybe they did get involved, and they were all like, "Hey, have some money, Sunsoft. Don't make your game sound better than ours." And then they're like, "You got it, bucko." And then Gimmick was like, "Dit, dit, dit." Riddle. The Riddler. Oh no. I thought Commodore was British. Or am I thinking of Amiga? Or no, it was Amiga. No, Amiga was Commodore. Okay, hang on. Okay, so we were both wrong. It was founded in Canada. Sinclair, I was probably thinking of. It was founded in Canada. And then moved its headquarters to the States at some point in Pennsylvania. Yeah, Commodore's Canadian. Who would have thought? The Amiga versus T-Battle, Demise, okay. That's interesting. That's actually super interesting. I had no idea. You think it'd be something that they would bring up in those made in Canada kind of things that our country loves doing, because we're totally not insecure about our place in the world or anything. Dear Canadian government, we know we've made stuff. Stop patronizing ourselves. Nonetheless, listen to Gimmick. The soundtrack is amazing and kind of cute. RIP Commodore International, 1958 to 1994. Mad World. I had never owned a Commodore anything, so I have, like, very little emotional attachment to Commodore. It was more popular in Britain, I guess, is probably what I was thinking of, because I know that, the Commodore 64 was super popular over there in the UK. I say Europe, but, like, you know what I mean. Michael Moonrock is a fancy author of the Elric Saga, and fellow law student Witcher author Andrzej Zapolsky. Please forgive my mispronunciation. Why did he sue the Witcher author? It was, if I had to guess, given the fact that this is apparently a really interesting story, it was probably something really stupid, right? I have no idea what's going on with this tire swing. I've never touched a Commodore computer. I like to try an Amiga at some point, especially for Pro Tracker. Well, like, they have these little, like, plug-and-play kind of, Commodore computers, which has, like, a bunch of, like, Commodore 64 and, like, Amiga computer games, on there. And I've always been curious to pick it up because it's not that expensive, and apparently it's quite good. It comes with the keyboard, which is the main system, and a controller. And I've always been very curious to try it out. I just don't know what games they have on there. Plagiarism? Well, I figured it was probably something like that. That's what it always is. But what did he quote-unquote plagiarize? Protractors and music software. I figured as such, my friend. Big Battle. Very creative name. Sunsoft's expansion chip uses the same chip found the Atari ST. The Atari, fun fact, that like the Atari Jaguar controller originally made for Atari STs. And they sucked there too, from what I understand. One thing I miss from Flash that CSP doesn't have, the ability to click and drag the ends of vector lines to snap into others, making inking a hell of a lot easier. That's the way to do it. I don't know about. Well, I know you can grab them and kind of drag them over. That's something you can do. I find it a little awkward. I prefer to just go back and make corrections. But it is a useful feature to have, especially if you're working in like more vector-based kind of stuff. I think Paintal Sai has a similar feature as well. I know that it has a kind of line correction and things like that as well. That's more a little bit more kooky. Basically a clone of another sound chip, if we're basic down slot machine. There is Y key. Why? 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 A Y key, but why? I know, I'm hilarious, guys. Oh, Y brings up line code. Oh, Y key. Okay. You were talking about a Clip Studio. Okay, I thought you were talking about like sound for a second. I'm like, Y key. I was very confused. Huh? For me, it's select dust. That's interesting. Which allows for like cleaning up like kind of gross extra pieces of lines that might be just kind of there without much of a purpose. I find it doesn't work all that well though. so I don't really use it. I just go over and I fix what I can. And if I miss something, sometimes you miss something. You can't really be helped. I've kind of been trying to get myself out of that mindset where it's like everything has to be as close to perfect as I can get it within my skill ability, because it's like sometimes you worry more about the overall presentation. Because sometimes I find when I worry about all the details, I miss other little details. I miss far more glaring, obvious ones, and I'd rather the obvious ones get dealt with. You know what I mean? Like, even recently, I had that issue. I drew a picture, as you guys know, of Coco Bandicoot in the Sonic Rider style. And looking at it, one of her hands looks like it has 4 fingers and a thumb, whereas the other one has 3 fingers and a thumb. And I can't look at that piece of art now because of that. You think I make the things overly perfect? I actually really like how clean your line work is. Oh, right, yeah. I know exactly what I'm gonna put on. Yes, Solstice. What am I fighting for? Michael Wood claims others that plagiarized Elric did similar there. Oh. Tim Fallen. No Fallen? I'm sorry, that was terrible. Okay, so my brother actually owns Solstice on the NES. It's not great, but the music, oh, the music is so good. Like way better than it has any right to be, honestly. If you're wondering about what the hell I'm doing with the line art, it's just because all of this is gonna be cut off, so it's just about making it connected, you know? It's just about making sure that there's no like empty space. Like, listen to this. Actually, you know what it reminds me a lot of? D, I want your confirmation on this, because I'm sure you know. And by that I mean, like, D, like Ice Dragon D, not DC. Is Tim Fallen the guy who composed for Silver Surfer? Because this reminds me a lot of Silver Surfer. Are we still talking about the Commodore 64? Kind of on and off, yeah. Why? Ah, I knew it! It sounds like the kind of music. It sounds like the Silver Surfer soundtrack, which is also really good. And you can get it on vinyl. You can get Silver Surfer on the NES on vinyl. That is so cool. Maybe if we get to the end of Solstice, which there's only 7 songs, so probably. So I think we're definitely going to do that. Maybe I'll throw on, Silver Surfer after this. Thank you very much for the host style! How you doing, friend? It's good to see you. We're talking about music. And, Commodore 64s, and, whether or not Geralt is a knockoff of Elric from a book series I already forgot the name of. And Castlevania. Just a gentle reminder to folks watching, by the way, if we reach the hour mark, I do accept tips. Tips are a great way to help support the stream. Thank you very much for the host, Milkstick. Tips are a great way to help support the stream, and if we reach $420 within the next 9 days, I'll 100% tie to. I should mention that we're already 71.43% of the way there at $300. So, I think we can do it. We've smashed harder goals before. I'm good. Nice and sore from working out. From working out. Nice and busy. It's been a busy day. So you had the opposite of my day. My day has been extremely lazy. I literally lounged around watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff because, like I said, that's my current hyperfixation. made music for the Commodore 64 version of Ghouls and Ghosts, I think. It's a great soundtrack. Really? Is he still doing music? I hope. Hey, thank you very much for the $2 tip there, Milksteak. Money. Tips like that go a long way to help support the stream. It lets me buy new equipment, buy new games, survive, especially since my phone bill just came out. So, yeah, thank you very much. Yes and no. I'm going to assume that means he's semi-retired, like, I was gonna say Dan Aykroyd, but Dan Aykroyd hasn't been in it. We've already talked about this. Dan Aykroyd hasn't been in a movie since, like, 2015, so... It's 8-bit. Though, this, I don't think, like, and D, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I've always found it a bit confusing. But I don't think you'd really call the sound 8-bit. You know, like, something that kind of bothers me is in, like, I think Sonic.exe says this, is that they say things like it's a pixelated scream. Pixelation relates to image quality and things like that, like pixel counts, not sound. He kind of quit after around the Dreamcast and PS2. He didn't like everything he provided music for what wasn't good or canceled. That's fair. He was trending recently because of a certain billionaire. Bits conferred audio too. Okay, my mistake then. Yes, and he was trending recently because of a certain billionaire that appeared in a certain show. Wait, who is trending recently? Wario? Because I know exactly what you're talking about, and it was terrible. The thing is, I wasn't expecting it to be Dan Aykroyd. Wait, why was Dan Aykroyd trending because of that? Did he say something? Did he show up in that segment? I only saw the Wario part. I didn't see the rest of it. I don't really care for modern SNL, so I mean, the only reason I watched it is because I was curious. Is it really as bad as people say? My issue is that no, it wasn't. It was just a really boring like late 2000s kind of internet sketch. Basically, it was really dull. I was hoping it was gonna be like laughably terrible. I think the only thing that was laughably terrible was Elon Musk's Wario voice. With Asperger's on the show. Oh, of course he did. Screw off. To be honest, I really gotta check out the Blues Brothers. I haven't watched Blues Brothers in years. I know that there's Blues Brothers 2000 and that sucks. But I remember really liking the original Blues Brothers, but it's been years and years and years and years. Like, let me put it this way. I watched it on VHS. Yeah, I know that the, like the climax is, like, fantastic. You want to know what actually, what reminded me of Blues Brothers the first time in years? There's an episode of Drake and Josh where they reference it, and they even sing, like, I'm a soul man! Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's actually one of the, if I remember correctly, it's actually one of the better episodes of Drake and Josh. But, it's been a long time since I've watched Blues Brothers. So I couldn't... Oh, yeah, Silver Surfer right there. You know what else I might put on? It's not like 8-bit style sound or anything, but Plock. If you've ever heard Plock, great soundtrack. The NES sound chip is 8-bit for the most part, but the built-in samples that you hear in some games is 7-bit. Interesting. I didn't even know 7-bit sound was a thing that you could do. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Lock? Do you mean Plock? or Luke, or Look. I can't English. Plog. Yeah, you know what? That doesn't surprise me too hard. Guy's got an impressive resume. Like, this isn't a terribly long soundtrack, I don't think. Yeah, there's only 9 songs, so maybe maybe I'll put on Plock after this. Again, not 8-bit, but I remember really liking the Plock soundtrack. I've never even played Plock, I just know the music. Is Plock any good? I heard it's, like, really hard. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, it's, because, I mean, again, Castlevania, but, like... Like, is it sad the only music composer I kind of know about is this... Oh, dear. Well, it's not necessarily sad. If it's not exactly your interests, it's like, you know, you can't really help who you know, right? I think it's sad that they did that, whoever they are. The only one Mega Drive game, Time Tracks, but it's unfinished on Mega Drive. Ah, okay. You know, if I gotta be honest, I always kind of hate it when games get canceled. Like, I know sometimes it can't be helped, and sometimes there are some games I wish got canceled. Sonic Boom as a lyric, but like, it's just always like sad, you know, especially when somebody puts in like a lot of work. Only one Mega Drive game. Oh, okay, I already read that. It's on the SNES, but it's a different soundtrack, not by Tim Fallon. That's weird. I mean, that's not the first time I've heard of something like that, but that's very strange. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of when the Sega when Mega Man 8 came out. Tengu Man has a different song on the PlayStation, and it has a different soundtrack on the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. It's very strange. There's no reason for it. It's not like one is particularly better than the other, but like... Also, just as an aside, if you're ever going to play Mega Man 8, for whatever reason, play it on Sega Saturn. For some reason, none of the re-releases of Mega Man 8 use the Sega Saturn version. They always use the PlayStation version. The Sega Saturn version has some additional songs, I think, some additional visual effects, I believe, and some extra bosses. There's only 2. It's Woodman and Cutman, but, like, still, just extra content. It's good stuff. You know? Jeremy Soule. I am actually not familiar with Jeremy Soule. And given what you've told me, I guess that's a good thing. Bethesda Games, Elder Scrolls. Ah! That's uncomfortable. Secret of Evermore. I've never actually heard of Secret of Evermore. Or you know what? Maybe I have, because that does sound vaguely familiar, but like, if you asked me what it was, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm assuming it's like an RPG or something. God, this is good. Like, listen to that. This is great. I love it. An American Squaresoft game. That's interesting. Because that didn't really happen back then. At least not as far as I know. I know that there were games made for American audiences by Squaresoft, like Mystic Quest. Because they were like, you know, there's some Americans who may not necessarily understand our RPGs. They may not necessarily know our RPGs. Neverwinter Nights would like to know your location. To say nothing about, like, literally all the text-based RPGs and whatnot. It doesn't help I know one other big name. I'm trying to picture I was trying to think of another good Tim Fallen soundtrack. Oh, Pictionary! Of course he made Pictionary. Of course he made the Pictionary soundtrack sexy. Man could take one of those, like, convert to MIDI image things of, like, the phone book and recompose it and make it sound good. He could take like the Resident Evil basement theme from the DualShock version and make it sound good. He can make a Quan Chi remix sound good. Yeah, but that's not hard. That will always sound good. I beg to differ. Echo Tides of Time is off. Tides of Time soundtrack is pretty good. Well, style, it looks like we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. Sigh. What makes Tim Fallen's music really awesome on NES is that he uses the triangle wave, commonly used for bass only, for both bass and drums at the same time. Interesting. I'm not really familiar with what triangle wave means. This is all starting to sound like Star Trek technobabble to me, but like... clearly it works, because I mean, like, damn, listen to this. You don't even notice it. It's the bass in what you're listening to right now, and the drums too, of course. Okay, so I guess it's more like an effect than like a specific setting. Style, why the blushy face? What was that? Oh, section completed. Does anyone here have like a favorite game soundtrack? Let's hear it, folks. Also, as an aside, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask, because these streams are always AMA streams. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I feel like we do have a good amount of things to discuss, so, you know, it's all good. But still. Oh no, the Sulfur Surfer has died. Man, this is funky. Battletoads soundtrack was good. David Wise really had a way with music. Battletoads soundtrack is awesome. I don't actually know. Nothing is coming to mind at the moment. For me, I want to say Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but I feel like that's cheating because so many of the songs are Elder Scrolls Hard West. Interesting. Like the original Elder Scrolls? I want to say Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but I feel like that's cheating because so many of the songs are remixes. Barring that, Sonic Adventure. Stalker, I think, because the obligatory Stalker reference. Xenocrisis. Oh, that's that. That was that Mega Drive game that you suggested the soundtrack to when we were looking for songs to listen to. Yeah, that soundtrack kicked ass. Like, that was so good. Doom Eternal, Pokemon, Oraz, Elder Scrolls, more pending. No, Skyrim does have a very nice soundtrack. It's very nice and atmospheric. Oraz, that's interesting. That's not one I hear a lot of, but like, you know, that's not to say it's like a bad choice or anything. I mean, I'm not all that familiar with Oraz's soundtrack. I'm more familiar with the original Ruby and Sapphire, which, you know, Trumpetsville. But that's interesting. That's a very interesting choice. Katamari Damacy is my favorite soundtrack. I mean, okay, I understand why, and again, not a wrong choice, not a bad choice at all. I've never particularly liked Katamari Damacy very much, so it's like, but that's just me. You do you, boo. Stellaris is an amazing soundtrack. Interesting. Yeah, I think for me it's probably Sonic Adventure. I think it's kind of like that perfect kind of like blend of what I like of Sonic sounds. It's not too much like rock and heavy metal, but there's or whatever, or like what's affectionately referred to by some people as butt rock. But there's enough of it in there. It creates kind of a nice variety of sounds and whatnot, you know. Like, I love Sonic Adventure 2, for instance, but I do wish it had a bit more, like, variety in its sounds. A lot of its sound... I don't want to say its songs sound similar, but a lot of them do have a kind of similar style and sound. They're meant to kind of coerce with this... Like not coerce. They're meant to kind of, I guess, work with the character you're playing as rather than being level-specific. But sometimes I feel like it gets a little bit too hard on, like, techno rock and butt rock and things like that. Like, there isn't, like, other than maybe the Knuckles and Rouge stages, there isn't, like, a lot of, like jazzy tracks or, like, specifically just techno tracks or, like, orchestral pieces or anything like that. It's all very one or two different styles. Mission Street sounds the closest to a Sonic Adventure song. Yeah, it does, kind of. Or also some really good tracks, but only a few in general, so it's not musically enough. That's fair. I actually really like X and Y soundtrack. I think X and Y and Crystal probably have my favorite Pokemon soundtracks. Black and White. Oh, Black and White also has a really good soundtrack. Now we're listening to Plock. Never played this. I'm a little bit disturbed that Plock on the cover has, like, a chest. Is Plock the character's name? I know very little about this game. I just know that its soundtrack is, like, really good. Guitar solo. And it sounds so much more clear than the normal, like, SNES, I guess you could say guitar sound sample that you hear, like, a lot of games. Like, in a Mega Man X3, I love the Mega Man X, like, I like to call it, like, that Capcom guitar. But it is so overused in X3. I hate X3's soundtrack for the most part. The main character is, in fact, called Plonk. Because it's so reliant on that one sound. And normally I like that sound. Like in, say, I think it's X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. It sounds great there. But in X3, it's like, it's so overused. I think half the soundtrack is... You know, it's just... I don't like it. And then it just kind of stopped. Oh yeah, I'm definitely hearing it now. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing it now. Like I'm definitely hearing the Tim Fallen. It sounds great in a lot of their arcade games too. It does, yeah. No, I love how it sounds in like Marvel vs. Capcom and whatnot. Like I love that guitar sound, but it gets so grating in Mega Man X3 because it's like one of maybe like 3 unique instruments you hear in that game. That's an exaggeration, obviously, but like, I don't like it. There's one, I mean, okay. In the game's defense, there's a couple of tracks I like, but like, Butch Hartman is allied with Bigfoot to kill you. Run, Fox, run. Oh, he finally found out. He found out I was talking smack. Honestly, I'm beneath Butch Hartman's notice. I don't think he'd ever give a crap about what I have to say. On the plus side, that means I can make fun of him all I want. And remind you that, again, I did his art better than he did. Just a gentle reminder, I was able to remember where the positioning of his chest should be on his avatar character. What if Butch Hartman drew Bigfoot? Oh, ew. It would probably look even worse than I could possibly imagine. You know Fuzz Bucket? That, but worse. There's another game with soundtrack by both Tim and Jeff Fallen called Equinox. It is the most dynamic region here in a SNES game. Hell Atmosphere. I've heard of Equinox, actually. Again, haven't played it, but I have heard of it. This, xylophone, whenever I hear it, you want to know what I think of? I think of Kid Clown, like on the Super Nintendo. I believe it, Kid Clown and Crazy Chase. My brain is the xylophone. The soundtrack by side screen only uses 5 to 8 sound channels. Ooh, interesting. I think Fox became a creepypasta character and kills bad industry. Hey, I haven't killed anyone yet. I am not looking to kill anyone. I'm simply looking to educate and to humble if necessary. No, I'm not. I'm just looking to talk smack. Oh, okay, I guess that was the end of the soundtrack. What? Why did it... What? Okay, that was very confusing. It just randomly took me off. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go, the boss music. That laugh is like super like Donkey Kong Country 2. Like it reminds me of the you know? Yet? No. In fact, actually, this does kind of remind me of this track does kind of remind me of Donkey Kong Country 2. Theremin also. Woo! Woo! I love the theremin. Such a weird ass underrated little thingy. I love it. I like how I'm coloring this all like normal, but I am gonna have to just put a filter over it, which is gonna make everything look like it's like in the afternoon or like the evening after this. I guess it does mean that I have a bit more control over how things look, I suppose. Like, I don't have to eyeball it as much, but like, you know. I guess I do technically still have to eyeball. I don't know. Either way, it's the same result. Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, I as much as I love that, let me put it this way: Mortal Kombat got me content. Like the Mortal Kombat's on arcade soundtrack got me content ID'd, so I wouldn't be surprised if Metal Gear Solid would get me content ID'd. I mean, it is Konami. Then again, I did just play Castlevania. Oh no! Should be safe with cat. I guess we'll find out, eh? Oh yeah, the beach. I love this. I love the beach. I've heard this in like reviews and whatnot. Same with that boss music, actually. Listen to the super evil beach music. There we go. It sounds slightly less evil now. Oh, you know what else has a really good soundtrack? I don't remember the frickin' name, but it's this 132X game. And the character is like this cute little big-headed green dude with like blonde hair. That's an evil-looking beach. Pale Sand Pokedex entry. Breezy Beach. Oh, what is the music? What's this game I'm thinking of? Is it Tempo? Thank you. Yes. Oh, that's a great soundtrack. Like, I would hope it has a great soundtrack. It's literally called Tempo, but like... Breezy Beach and Creepy Crag are the most popular songs from Plock. What's that soundtrack? Maybe I'll put on Tempo after this. Get kind of a nice variety of things going. We got a few NES games. We got a SNES game. Maybe we throw on a 32X game, you know. It's Tempo! Also, Dynamite Headdy has a really good soundtrack, if I remember. I tried playing Dynamite Heady, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. It was so, like, it was just so odd. It just kind of throws you in, and everything's so kind of crazy. It's like, I just couldn't get into it. Which is weird, because normally I like weird. I like weird, I like crazy, I like unusual, but there's just something about the way that Dynamite Heady just kind of chucks you into things I'm just not a big fan of. From 8-bit to 16-bit. Listen to this Crash Bandicoot sounding music. Like, am I the only one hearing that? It sounds like super Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, it's a treasure game. Like... It's not even that it's like too weird. It's the fact that, like, again, it doesn't give you any time to kind of, I guess, ingest the weirdness. It just kind of jumps right in. It's kind of like it's obviously less extreme than this, at least I feel like it is, but it's kind of like the platforming equivalent of one of those, like, crazy ass like shooter games made in Japan that are meant for, like, absurdist humor, and they're, like, absolutely, like, just bonkers. No, you're not the only one. Maybe a little. Maybe a little what? But I get why people like Dynamite Heady a whole lot, though. It's a good game. I just couldn't get into it. Crash-like. At least it did sound Crash-like for a bit. As it got towards the end, it's sort of not so much. Or I say towards the end, but we're only about, it's like... There we go. It's still going. I think we're just looping, though, but I might be wrong. Oh, this is a long one. Yeah, it's 4:30. It's 4 minutes and 35 seconds. That was odd. Art! Hi, Malice! Nope, this is... Hi, Malice, how you do? You meant to put nope. I wasn't sure what hope meant. I thought maybe it was, like, the original name of the track, but, like... How you doing, Malice? Welcome to the stream. Doing okay? Okay is better than bad. It's good to see you, friend. I'm just gonna take a second to stretch. I've been sitting in this chair for like an hour and a half and I haven't stretched yet. Okay, folks, I just got told something. We're going to be going down for a second. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. I will obviously be back online when everything is settled. Thanks, folks. See you in a second.